Hi, my name is Hannah Wolf. My mentor is Jessica Carden. Together, we came up with this project, Renewable Energy, Discovering a Discourse for Change. Before I start talking about my presentation, I want to start off with a quote that is credited to Charles Darwin. "It is not the strongest of the species, nor the most intelligent that survives. It is the one that is most adaptable to change." Us as a society need to be able to face the challenges that lay ahead. If we continue doing the same thing over and over again and expect things just to get better on their own, we are not going to be able to survive the next 100 years. So we need to start adapting and getting with the times. I came up with this topic when I was thinking about what it really means to implement renewable energy and get to the goal by 2030. I sort of found a lot of people just didn't have the proper knowledge about what renewable energy is. So the purpose of our presentation is to highlight the importance of educating a community of residents, business owners, and policymakers with cohesive and locally pertinent messaging. Our approach is to work to implement two mock campaigns encouraging citizens of two cities with conflicting political ideologies to understand the facts, time sensitivity, and importance associated with a 100% renewable energy future. Our goals is to not only use science and data to curate messages to these diverse communities, but use these facts to appeal and directly connect to their values. We all have different values. No one is more important than the other, but in the end, we need to use these values to get to the goal that is going to save the planet so we can all have a future together. Our tactics is so with different campaign strategies that have the same end game, we can end up with the same goal of a more informed population to champion and be proponents of 100% renewable energy. So if it was that easy just to change people's minds and be like, oh, let's be renewable energy by 2030, we would have done it already. However, it's not that easy. We ask the questions, do logic and evidence actually convince people? Are we able to think critically? And these are things that we're always on constant mind. It's in today's political climate. Like, we just don't understand how people are making some of these decisions. So we're going to look at ways that people make decisions, if it's biological, if it's human nature, nurture, whatever. So first we're going to look at a study that was done on capital punishment by Lord Ross and Lepner in 1979 at Stanford University. It's called Biased Assimilation and Attitude Polarization, the Effects of Prior Theories on Subsequently Considered Evidence. The study consists of 48 undergraduates who support and oppose capital punishment. They were exposed to two purported studies, one seemingly confirming and one seemingly disconfirming their existing beliefs about the deterrent efficacy of the death penalty. The results, as predicted, were people with strong opinions on complex social issues are likely to examine relevant empirical evidence in a biased manner. They are apt to accepting confirming evidence at face value while subjecting disconfirming evidence to critical evaluation, and as a result, draw undue support for their initial positions from mixed or random empirical findings. So, if facts don't work because we just take some evidence that supports our theory and just runs with it, what does work? So we want to focus on like the mind and see if we can almost manipulate the mind in a certain way. So when we're talking to people, we want to make sure that we know, like, even if it's not true, we make sure that they think that their decision was right based on the information that was known at a time. And now that we have these facts, that the facts have changed, so should the mind. Also, extremely important, you cannot use fear to try and change people's mind. It never works. You cannot be like, the polar bears are going to die if we don't switch to 100% renewable energy. That's not going to get anything done. You have to give a feasible course of action and realistic, tangible evidence that actually affects their lives. Like, I mean, we care about the polar bears, but, we want to make sure we're not scaring people into thinking, oh, we can't do anything, let's not try. We also want to make sure we play the no blame game, which means no schadenfreude. You cannot be like, I told you so, or this is all your fault, and told you this was going to happen. You cannot belittle a mind and make people feel like they were stupid for choosing something. A typical course of action when you're talking to somebody about a decision they made that was pretty obviously wrong, you can be like, of course you were in that position to make that decision in November because no one knew about whatever. You have to make people feel valid and that their opinions weren't stupid, and that they had a right to feel that way or think that way. There's also decision-making processes that I uncovered. that sort of shows a biological effect in Democrats versus Republicans. Um, so Democrats use the left insula, and that is associated with emotional processing as well as social awareness. So while this makes them more social aware, this also makes the group more willing to betray group loyalty and disrespect authority for cash. Republicans, on the other hand, use the right amygdala, which is associated with the fight or flight system. This helps people protect against some of the natural difficulties of living. It also makes them extremely patriotic and wanting to protect their own. An interesting case was when issue was framed climate change as an environmental issue for a local bill to pass, it didn't pass. When they framed climate change as a patriotic issue that was consistent with protecting the status quo, it passed with flying colors. So this just shows the way that we have to frame points and facts and questions, and that makes a difference. So I want to talk to you about different case studies. So Aspen, Colorado is a population of nearly 7,000 people with an estimated per capita income of almost $70,000. And Georgetown, Texas is a population of 67,000 people with an estimated per capita income around $67,000. Aspen, Colorado is predominantly Democratic city. As you can see in the 2016 election, 75% voted for Hillary Clinton. Georgetown, Texas is predominantly Republican. The gap has gotten smaller over the past few years, but they still are a predominantly Republican city. What both cities have in common, even though they have drastically different characteristics, is that they both are 100% renewable energy. And they don't have the goal to be 100% renewable energy. They are already being run on renewable energy. Aspen, Colorado is being run on hydro and wind, and Georgetown is being run on hydro and solar. Their reasoning was essentially the same. They wanted to be energy independent. They wanted to cut down on their energy bills, and they wanted another source of income. Extra energy that they produce, they sell off to neighboring districts. So campaign directions, how we would target each different type of city, because you can't use one voice. You have to use different voices. So for Republican city promotion, we would use billboards, purchase posters on major highways, near affluent homes, in front of government buildings. We get TV commercials that would lean on conservative-leaning programs, radio commercials on right-leaning talk shows, as well as pop and country music stations. We use grassroots, so canvas, door-to-door, educating people on the benefits of going renewable. Social media, partner with government agencies to do social media takeovers discussing the initiative, and also use government bodies, partner with the city hall to attend and take questions at any public meeting. The way we would try and appeal to Republicans is through fiscal, safety, and patriotic. We would pose facts and issues that relate to these topics. For the Democratic city promotional plan, we'd also get billboards. We'd place them on city buses, train stations, in the middle of urban centers. We'd also take out TV commercials, but more on liberal-leaning programs. Radio commercials would be on independent radio stations, as well as pop and alternative music stations. Grassroots, aside from the canvassing door-to-door, we'd attend community gatherings and festivals. We'd also try and go to college campuses and talk to student groups that are eligible to vote. Social media, still partner with government agencies to do social media takeovers, and government bodies, again, the same thing, partner with City Hall to attend and take questions at any public meetings. We'd also want to work with local governments to plan events to show support for transition plans. The way we'd like to appeal to Democrats is to talk about future generations, health, and animals. So the challenge ahead that lay for both Republicans and Democrats is apathy. People may, care and want to help, but they just don't actually want to do anything. So that is something we really need to combat. Ignorance, which is what we're trying to work now. We're trying to just get people educated about what renewable energy is and why it's so important. And then another challenge is the initial upfront expenses that come with transitioning to renewable energy. While there is often a huge payback, the initial startup can be difficult. For Georgetown, Texas, how they combated that issue was they had a partnership with Bloomberg, who essentially paid for them. So, right-leaning campaign, here are some facts to lean into that sort of focus on the fiscal. Megabucks, the renewable energy industry is growing fast. By 2019, the global market is expected to be worth $770.6 billion. The Rockefeller family, who made all of their money in oil, has begun to sell their investments in oil and started to move towards clean energy. Focusing towards safety, By 2050, there could be up to 200 million people displaced by rising global temperatures. These are known as climate refugees, and there will be a lot of them. Renewable energy creates 5 times more jobs than fossil fuels. We are wanting to create more jobs, and this is a way to do it. When we're talking about patriotism and just how being an environmentalist is essentially being patriotic. I mean, how would you not want to help the United States by making a more secure future? So the solar industry now employs more people than coal, oil, and gas combined. China is leading in wind power, 2 wind turbines every hour as of 2017. We'd also want to focus on energy independence. Clean energy provides us with unlimited, reliable source of energy. We would drastically have to defer our foreign policy. So facts leaning to the left, we want to focus on future generations, so we'd have fuel for the future. With hurricanes and other disruptive events becoming more common and severe, clean energy is a more stable source of energy than coal because they're disturbed and modular. Focusing on health, solar creates 91% less carbon dioxide pollution than natural gas and 96% less than coal. Harvard University estimated the life cycle costs and public health effects of coal to be an estimated $74.6 billion every year. With less pollution from coal, the population itself would just be healthier and we would save so much money. So, and then leading towards animals, a study has found that up to 1/2 of all plants and animal species on dry land could face extinction by the year 2050. So, the goal of this presentation in general was 100% renewable energy by 2030. The facts we just talked about, while they are specific towards different political leanings, they can be used either because they're all so important and they matter. We have this goal in mind that we want to reach. And we can do it if we start talking to people in a way they understand and not just using our own voice. So in conclusion, for true change, speak to people in a language they will understand. When I say this, I currently work with a lot of scientists, and they often talk to people in a science language. People who are not scientists will not understand them. That is what's so great about having a liberal arts background. You have this gift of being able to communicate with other people. You can take the science language and make it so others will understand in a way that makes sense to them. If I try talking to somebody in English who doesn't speak English, we're not going to be able to communicate, and our points won't get across, and it's just going to cause a lot of trouble. If I make the effort to somehow change the way I talk so somebody else can understand me, we're going to get a lot further. So that is my presentation. I just wanted to say thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. I had an amazing time working with Jess. I learned so much, and I look forward to continuing learning more about this and staying in contact with Jess and staying in contact with Inspire. Yeah, so I hope you enjoyed. I hope you found what I was talking about interesting. I know I did when I was learning about it. So thank you again, and bye.